Welcome to Straight Lines. I'm Tim Neiman. This is where life lessons meet leadership, where business gets a dugout seat, and where baseball gives us more than box scores. It gives us blueprints. Whether you're managing a team, building a brand, or just trying to lead yourself better, you're in the right place. Because here on Straight Lines, we believe the shortest distance between purpose and progress is truth, clarity, and action. Very excited today. I mean, we're going to have a blast. Someone I've known for quite a long time, and now in pro ball now they would call you a manager. Are you a manager or a head coach? We'll start with that.
Yeah, well, Coach, obviously, I'll
Let's
answer
give me
that.
again.
However, you see
Give me
fit.
that one.
You
Manager or head
show
coach?
me
I
what
got
it
answer.
is to be a leader, to be a manager, to be a man of tricks of many trades. I've watched Coach Neiman over the years just continue to answer the call every day. We'll get into this here in a little bit, but I am honored to be here with you today. So you call
I
me
appreciate
manager, you call me coach, you call me whatever you want. I'm your assistant today because you are.
it.
I want to make sure we
what
establish that
what
right at the
what
gate.
do they call you? Is you manager Marc Crocco or you the head coach Marc Crocco?
I think it's head coach. I think
Okay.
with this
Yeah, no,
organization,
like in pro ball, they're really kind of fussy about that. So, yeah, I'm the manager. Okay, fine. But anyway, formally introduce Marc Crocco, the head coach of the Loco Beach Coconuts, part of the Banana Ball family. So excited for him. I can't think of anybody better, in this kind of a situation than Mark representing the Banana Ball brand. And we're going to talk a whole bunch about that kind of stuff today. I always like, though, you just didn't wake up this morning and become the head coach of the Loco Beach Coconuts. You've had a lifetime before. And, take us through, let's go back. Percy, I think you grew up in, right? Or was it Sellers? Pennsylvania. Take us way back to the high school days, and then of course, through your college playing days, and how'd you get? What did it all start with? What did it look like?
yeah, that's really good. And I think one thing we talk in this organization a lot about, is when you fell in love with the game. And fortunately for me, my dad and I had shared this love for baseball at a very young age, and my dad always taught me, he said, if you go to a camp or you go somewhere to learn something, take at least one thing with you. And that started at the sales hitting camps at a young age for me, which is why this is a neat interview today. And that began a lot of my love for the game. And ultimately, yes, it was something me and my dad shared. But, those early days of being around Coach Neiman, his staff, getting a chance to see baseball continue to grow at a high level was really something for me that laid a foundation. So I want to honor you with that today. Ultimately, my goal was to always be somebody that brought energy, that brought passion, that came back to the love of the game and reminded people around them of that. And I joke with people, I tell them, hey, I may not be 6'5", I may not throw 96 or been a top 10 round pick, but nobody was going to bring more energy and passion for the team and for others through my years. And I learned that at a younger age. And I was really fortunate to get an opportunity to go to Wingate University to play there and then coach there just outside of Charlotte. Very neat program, high level program, small private school. And I learned through my time there very early that I was called to be a coach. And my head coach, Bill Nash, I give him a lot of praise and credit for giving me an opportunity as a player. There was a middle school team that needed a head coach. And he said, hey, I may know a guy that, they only meet twice a week. It was like Monday nights at 8, they practiced, and like Wednesday nights at 8, they would play. And I got a chance while I was playing to become a young head coach. And I used to come back at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and not feel like I worked at all that day. I may have had early morning weights practice and then went and spent time with those guys. And my dad was just like, son, I think you're walking in your calling, and I was very fortunate to find that out at a young age. And then soon after that, I was first true job that I had in college baseball was at the United States Air Force Academy. And, to get that opportunity to serve those that will serve our country really laid a foundation for me, not only as a leader later on and a head coach, but really has tied in some things here with the Bananas organization on what it truly means to serve others, to see others. And that gave me a trajectory over to Presbyterian College, knowing I had to become a recruiting coordinator. Got under Elton Pollock, who is one of the best servant leaders. Him and Mike Kozlowski, those two guys are unbelievable how they love and serve their players. I got a chance to watch that firsthand with those two guys, and then I was there for 5 years, and that led me over to obviously Erskine College as the head coach there for 9 years. And I got a chance this summer to coach the visitors. And, people talk about timing and alignment, but went down and did this thing this summer in an organization that I knew I was born to be a part of. And the timing of this for this brand and this new team, the Loco Beach Coconuts, to come to fruition this summer, leading in was the perfect timing. And we are really excited about putting the team together here and putting them out in the forefront and having people see what it looks like to show up at the beach and get back to being in love with the game of baseball every day and really just to love and serve others. And that's what this organization's all about.
Yeah, that's very good. Quite the journey, young man. I mean, you are cut out to be a coach. Yes, you were. Um, and like you, like me, we never work a day in our lives. I mean, there is no clock. We don't watch the clock. We don't care. It's 24/7, 365, and we absolutely love it. So congratulations so far on what you have to become. I still think it should be the Logo Beach Crocodiles. Would
Hey,
probably,
it can flow a little bit. Crocco's coconuts, some of them are calling them.
I know we'll have to work on that. So for those that are under a rock out there and don't know what banana ball is, Savannah Bananas, just take us way back to the beginning of all that. What was the original vision of banana ball?
Yeah, well, Jesse Cole and Emily Cole are obviously two very, very special people. And, ultimately when they were, kind of starting this organization, getting it off the ground, they bet on themselves and truly jumped out of the norm. And, they sold out for this organization right away. There's a story of Jesse, and her living in a garage right away out of here when they first got to Savannah. But the vision has always been about the fans, going to a ball game and seeing the interaction with the players to the fans, to serve the fans, to bring light to a world that on most days in the news and just seems to get darker and darker. They wanted to be a light and a light that shines through their players and the way that they interact. So there's quite a story and a journey that they went through to get to this point. But I'll summarize it all and get back to say, when you have a vision and you keep the main thing, over time, it's amazing to see how authenticity, genuine love and joy for others turns into something much bigger than yourself. And that's what we're standing in the middle of now. And the energy that flies around this stadium every day, whether it's the players, the coaches, the fans, or just the passerby. That all starts from the top with Jesse and Emily, and their vision of seeing and serving others has turned into something much bigger than all of us. And it's been a real treat to see it and watch it. This is technically, the organization is called Fans First. So even the name of the organization goes back to the vision, goes back to the true why behind everything that we do, which is the fans every single day. We are in existence to serve them, to entertain them, and to show them truly what the heartbeat of this thing is about, and that's service for others.
It's an amazing story, Mark. And, this obviously the name of the show is Straight Lines, and it has everything to do with love and passion and caring, details, attention to details, putting others first. That's really the definition of it all. And it's probably not a better, organization and a better example of anybody that shows this than Banana Ball with all the moving parts and the entertainment. I think one of the things just a couple of podcasts ago, I had Kevin Daly on, who was a captain of the Harlem Globetrotters for 10 years. And I think the banana ball, scenario emulates that, where Kevin said, look, every day we did about 200 shows a year. Every day we'd come out. It could have been the first time anybody ever saw it. And I think you guys are in that same boat and that same mindset. And quite frankly, that's attention to detail and straight lines and commitment and everything else. You mentioned the visitors. So you were with a visitor. Are they still in existence? Is that team, is that brand still in existence? Or we watched, she went visitors to the Loco Beach Coconuts.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah.
So not this past summer, but this past summer was the second year of the visitors. But the year before was the first year that they had a 6-week kind of hand-selected group of guys that had been chosen as the future stars of Banana Ball. And full immersion, 6 weeks. Those guys are here. They got their own locker room, their own team, obviously their own jerseys. The concept behind them is every scoreboard in the country typically has the visitors on there, and people just fell in love with that group this past year. First year of the visitors. Unfortunately, I was kind of in pocket with some things walking through with my family, and my father had some illness that we're on the other side of. In this past year, Coach Gillum reached out and said, hey, with the recruiting world that we're in, do you think you got bandwidth to do that? And, again, timing, my assistant coaches at Erskine were tremendous and prepared to hold the ship, and did a lot of recruiting calls just like this, FaceTimes and Zooms to hold that down. But ultimately that 6-week process gave us 5 games against 2 against the Bananas and 3 against the Party Animals in Louisville, Kentucky. We got a chance to take these guys on the road. They got a chance to see what practice every day looks like inside these walls, and then also get a chance to watch and be totally immersed into other games that were happening here at Grayson. And these guys really got a chance to become a part of it for 6 weeks. They were fully immersed in everything that we do, and that was a neat thing for me because I got a chance to guide them in that process and do that organically. And throughout that time, I think not only myself, but those players, they found, their gifts and talents kind of meeting ahead, finding a home and finding a space where those gifts and talents that they've been given have a chance to shine and encourage a watching world. So it was a neat group, guys from all over the place, all over the country, guys with many different stories and journeys, whether it's an SEC player, affiliate guy, or an independent baseball player. We had guys from all different walks to come together and build a team in a 6-week period.
How did you land on the Coconuts name, the brand? Was there a contest? Was there, people, suggestion names for free season tickets for the winner of the con? How did that all come about?
Great question. And obviously things always go back to collaborative efforts with Jesse, the entertainment team. The boss man is a visionary, and he does a wonderful job of receiving information and with people at roundtable discussions and getting open and transparent with it. I was not a part of that process. This was one of those things for me. The first thing that we did with those visitors was play banana ball, wiffle ball on the beach. And little did I know that I'd be in this seat today, coaching a team that ended up being a beach theme. But ultimately, obviously, the aim with the fans, right? And I think the heartbeat behind bringing Loco Beach to everywhere we go. Everyone's welcome at the beach. All people, all walks of life. There's no status or hierarchy when you go to the beach. Everyone is welcome. Come as you are. And I think that narrative is something that's going to be really powerful as we go into the rest of this year together and bring more fans and more families together and create a space for them, just like the beach. So I think bringing Loco Beach, it's not a destination spot. It is Jesse calls a mindset, a place where when we gather, we are family. When we gather, we are as one. And when we gather, all are welcome. And I think it's going to be extremely powerful.
That's a tremendous submission statement, if you will. I mean, really outstanding. All right. So how did you get involved with Banana Ball? was phone calls like, "Oh, there's a guy. He's got a good personality, bouncing off the wall. He's got some energy, some juice. Good baseball guy. Yeah, it's going to be the Loco Beach Crocodiles." No, I'm just kidding. But he'd be a perfect fit for Banana Ball. When did that happen?
Yeah, so great question, and Coach Neiman, the baseball world is small, even though it's big. Back in my Air Force Academy assistant days, Coach Gillum, who's the head coach for the Bananas, him and I used to help run the infield portions of DeMarini Top 96 camps all over the country, and I know your son was involved in those as well, and there was a brotherhood that was built and a bond amongst all of us that traveled the country, put those clinics on. And through that time, me and Coach Gillen built a neat relationship that lasted over the years. And full transparency, when I had gotten the head job at Erskine, the Bananas had really been taking off as the CPL destination spot. And I called Gillum. I said, "Listen, man, I know everybody wants to be there, and got SEC guys out the wazoo. Just save one slot for the Erskine guy." And he did that, and I would send him basically our captains every year. And my intent with that was to give them community engagement, to give them a chance to engage with the fans, to grow as a servant leader, to see inside of these walls something different that they could bring back to our team. And we did that over years together, and ultimately our friendship became stronger. I continued to help him, not only get our players, but refer some other players as well. And it was one of those organizations for me that, even though I was not inside the walls, I would come down and see those guys once a summer, do my annual trip to see the boys. And I felt like they were my family from afar the whole time. And it was interesting to see it kind of all come full circle here in the past few months, that there was a friendship, a bond, and a relationship that was being built for later. And that thing came full circle here a couple weeks ago when we announced the Loco Beach Coconuts.
And I think it's so cool, so fantastic, and so happy for you. Since 1909, Baseball Blue Book has been the trusted directory for MLB scouts, and today it's grown into the most comprehensive platform in the. But it's not just for players and coaches, it's for businesses too. Inside the Baseball Blue Book app, companies can create full profiles, promote their products or services, and even build private groups to connect directly with players, parents, and coaches. Whether you're offering training, equipment, nutrition, or any service that touches the game, you now have a direct pipeline to the baseball community. If your business wants to stand out, it's time to get in the book. Download Baseball Blue Book today from Apple or Google Play. Visiting here with Marc Crocco, the head coach of the newly formed the Loco Beach Coconuts Banana Ball variety. So, look, how many teams are there right now? So, how many total teams in the banana ball world?
That's a
The
great
party
question.
animal.
We are embarking on a new journey here this year. This is going to be the first year of Banana Ball Championship League. It's still World Tour, so we're still traveling all over the country to execute this league. But there have been 4 teams that have been in the league. Obviously, the originators and the Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals. Last year, they added the Texas Tailgaters and the Firefighters. So there were 4 teams last year that were doing World Banana Ball Tour. And then this year, going into the league, we've added 2 new teams, the Indianapolis Clowns and also the Loco Beach Coconuts. So we now have 6 teams that are in this championship league that will execute and travel, World Tour style. We will pick up and bring the show to everyone. But each of these games will count, and there will be 30 games that every team will be the home team, and 30 games that they will be the away team. And you'll play everybody the same amount of times. And we will play this thing out start to finish with seedings, with implications that go into every single game. And it is going to be very neat to see how high level of baseball is going to unfold, number one. But 2, how, what I'm excited about, and people have asked, well, does it change anything? Ultimately, this thing has not been scripted by any means from the start. I know sometimes people see the dances or things that are worked on prior to for the fans to entertain them. That is the only thing scripted in Banana Ball. This is very high level baseball in and throughout, and it's always been that. But now the implications of postseason seeding, showing up to the ballpark knowing that you're playing for, a record not only overall in World Tour, but one that can really dictate something later on. There's going to be no pitches off, and it's always been that way. Winning every inning, something, and this as a baseball purist, I talk about 7, 8, 9. There's something about the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning and how important those moments are. I witnessed firsthand that 7, 8, 9 begins immediately in Banana Ball. You're trying to win every inning and score, and when there's that value on every inning, the heightened focus and doing all of it within 2 hours, and the intensity that brings, knowing that there's going to be playoff implications and seeding that goes with it. It is going to be a great show to watch, and we are excited to get these guys ready to go out and do World Tour with a whole new spin on it, of competition at the highest level in postseason baseball. It's going to be really powerful.
I think it's a fantastic concept for sure. I like new things. I like folks that are daring enough to try new things. And you mentioned it too. There's, how do you balance the competitiveness, which it is. I haven't been there live yet, but I've seen some games on ESPN. Very, very good baseball. Really, it is. So how do you balance that competitiveness with the entertainment part of it?
Mm-hmm.
How, so you're talking practice and, the kinds of things you do, preparing for a game and, how's that all balanced now for you, Mark?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, one of the questions I got a lot from my coaching colleagues, did practice look different? And I think ultimately, the product that goes out on the field is a professional product. So we have to train that way every day. The amount of reps that go into trick plays is unbelievable. And,
Hmm.
and and the way that these guys are able to get aerial and backflip and and go between the legs and do all this with guys getting down the line in 4 seconds is tremendous. And the work ethic that is involved here, and here we are in November. I got guys down there right now getting reps in. I mean, there are just no days off. They work in that capacity, and then on top of that, there's extra time with the entertainment team where they take care of a lot of the things that are, pre-rehearsed for the fans, and they're able to kind of separate the two. The one spin per se that I would say is a bit different with practice. The training is very similar. The amount of reps at a high level, at a high clip, is very similar. But the one thing we always have eyesight on, because this is a beacon here in Savannah, is that in the middle of practice, if a family shows up or a young kid shows up, one of us will go get him and spend time with him, look him in the eye, sign autographs, take them to the fan wall. Everything that we do always goes back to serving those fans every day. So there are things that, when you're locked in a college practice, you're like, there is no distractions. You're right here. Somebody walks in, the main thing will always be the main thing. And we're going to spend time with them. They're going to know they're seen. They're going to know that they are valued here. And they can come to this space every day and be a part of our family. And our players see that. And ultimately, for me, I've always been about building men and fathers and husbands. And yes, I've been fortunate to have coached some All-Americans, recruited some guys that played pro ball and are still playing. But ultimately, we're going to have to hang those cleats up at some point, and to give back to the community, to see others the way that they do. Those opportunities are really built into the everyday here. And that's the kind of, I would say, the thing that pushes against the grain. And ultimately what happens is there's more joy. There's more fun. There's more excitement. There's guys that are truly filled up, not for their own stuff or their own numbers, but truly filled up by serving and seeing others. And I think it shows up in everything that we do. And we have a blast doing it. And we always keep that in mind when we go through it, that this is something we are here to be professionals, to get better, to work every day, but we're never going to lose sight of the main thing being the main thing, and that's those fans.
And that, my friend, is straight lines. I mean, those are straight lines. We got the main thing, the main thing. We care about the fans first, and all these details and all the practice and all the time to make the game and a great game and add on the entertainment of it. Just makes for a fantastic product that the Banana Ball puts out there. And I'm sure you're going to do really, really well. You have tryouts, I think, coming up. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And
so
uh,
we had
what kind of
four
players you look for?
we had four sets of tryouts that after they announced these teams, the entire coaching staffs essentially went all over the country to tryouts with these guys, and there was hundreds and hundreds of applicants. And Barry Aldridge, our director of recruiting and scouting, does a tremendous job of screening great players, great people, and will invite those guys to different opportunities to be evaluated by us as coaches. And we got a chance to do that in October. And the final, list of that draft actually just went out, to the public yesterday of guys that
Okay.
have made the draft pool. And we will draft live on Thursday night, 7 p.m. It will be live on Banana Ball TV and on the YouTube channel there. We're going to have a chance to pick the first Loco Beach Coconuts team live on Thursday night. We'll finish the draft on Friday at noon. And once again, we're going to go over some things here very shortly on how to make that a fan experience and have them involved in seeing these teams come to fruition and some of their favorite players that are in the draft as well. What teams they may end up on. And this is going to be a really neat week in the history of this organization. And really looking forward to seeing what this team looks like here a week from now.
That's so cool. I mean, one thing for sure is that you guys, the chemistry and everything else that goes along with it, you obviously have to coordinate, all these moving parts to make it look good and having the right kind of players, the right kind. They're going to be able to play a little bit, but they also have to be good people, obviously, to serve the mission and serve the fan base. And yeah, I'm sure you won't have any team killers. A book I recently wrote, released on June the 1st. In every workplace and every team, there are unseen forces that can derail success. In my book, Team Killers, I uncover the behaviors, attitudes, and habits that destroy chemistry and show you how to build a winning culture instead. If you're a leader, coach, or teammate who wants a lasting success, this book is your playbook. Get your copy of Team Killers today and protect your team from the inside out. Available at Coach Neiman and also on Amazon. Again, we are here with Marc Crocco, head coach of the Loco Beach Coconuts in Banana Ball 6-team league with playoffs in the end and world tour. I mean, it's going to be so cool to watch this again. I mean, you've talked about a little bit of this, how it's like a lifestyle, right? Banana Ball. I'm sure that was very intentional from day one. You've kind of alluded to that sort of thing. Anything you want to add to, that thought?
Yeah, obviously, I told the visitors, we had, 6 weeks here together. And there was a gap, obviously, between, the middle of July and leading into this draft, which is now in November. And the thing that I wanted them to hear from me, knowing that, they were going to be outside of these walls, is that, this fan's first intent is transferable. You can do this at the grocery store. You can pause it. Your radars should be extremely high on those 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old young boys running around. And it feels like everywhere you go, I just see ball players, man. I see guys that, you got a different sense of the opportunities that present themselves to you daily. And then also, one thing that we talked a lot about, is how do we make deposits in other people's lives throughout our day? And a lot of times it's to pause and just look somebody in the eye. And if they got a name tag on, one of the things that we talked about with our visitor guys this summer is if somebody's had a name tag on, and all the staff around here does, you're going to use their name and you're going to say thank you. And just the simple act of gratitude on a daily basis by using someone's name and making sure that they see that they're seen, that they're valued, that can show up all day long if you just look for it. And I've had some of those players reach back out to me and they're like, Coach, man, you're right. And sometimes we all need reminders of that as well, whether we're in, quote unquote, this fans first environment or not. We need to make sure that we transfer that out to the world, a watching world, and college baseball players, high school baseball players, coaches, leaders, teachers. We have platforms every single day to live out what we're preaching, and that starts with every interaction that we have, one at a time. And I get this question, often. How did it grow so big? And I've talked to Jesse and a lot of people that have been around. One fan at a time.
Mm.
One impact at a time, one deposit in somebody's life at a time. And that has nothing to do with other than seeing and serving others. And, that's
Well,
something that, our players, I think, really embraced, and they've been able to fine tune, before they get into this draft. And we'll be able to pick up, obviously, in a larger environment here. But my hope has been that those guys have been doing it ever since they left July 15th.
you've got me excited. I can't think of a more representative of the brand and the culture that Banana Ball has than Marc Crocco. You are fantastic in representing Banana Ball and all they do and all the ball clubs. I'm very impressed by you today, young man, and you are sort of young compared to me, and so very impressed with you and very proud of you since I knew you since way back in the day, obviously. All right, so something near and dear to Banana Ball and you're always into this stuff too, the merchandising and putting it out there and touching fans and talk about how A, how important that is, and B, what the task of putting that all together.
Yeah, great question, and things that I'm very conscious of every day. I've always believed in the power of the first. Every year, every college baseball season, high school baseball season, any season that somebody opens up, you get a chance to do your first again. And I think we have always talked about that in the great game of baseball, that the sun will shine. You will hear play ball again, unless it's the last game of the season or an elimination game. Every year there's a new opportunity for your first. Now, there's always going to be your first. And in this situation here, this is truly the first. Every podcast, that you get a chance, it's the first for the Loco Beach Coconut. Every opportunity you have to meet or interact with somebody on behalf of the Loco Beach Coconuts is our first. So what does that look like? For us right now, it's building fans, one at a time. Some things that I've done personally, obviously, as the sole only right now guy on the roster, I have, gotten out a little bit more on social media, knowing that there is a calling to this, to build fans, to get to the heart of what I think this thing's really all about. And that's, competing at a high level and having fun while we do it, and, tying it into the beach. So I've done some things social media wise that maybe traditionally, would not feel quote unquote a burden or momentum to feel like I have to do, because it is our first. And ultimately, the colors, the gear, the beach look that this thing has, it has been like wildfire already. The first month or so of its existence, we have sold a ton of Loco Beach merchandise, and ultimately our aim is that they're not just buying a brand, but when somebody buys a Loco Beach Coconuts jersey or hat, that they are living out what this brand stands for. All are welcome. Here to serve, honored to serve, to see others, to bring Loco Beach to their cubicles, bring Loco Beach to the local high schools, to their teams. And I want people to see an extra joy over somebody that's wearing a Loco Beach jersey or emulating one of these players that I'm going to draft here in the next couple days, because they're living out, our motto, because they're living out what we're talking about, being competitive on that field and playing like a maniac for those fans and having fun while they do it. That's our real vision for why. And I think overflow of that, people want to become a part of it. And but it doesn't hurt. I had a chance to put this jersey on for the first time, and it was funny. I walked in the middle of the Bananas locker room, and those guys were waiting for their turn to go for a selection show, and those are like the Yankees of Banana Ball. And
Yeah,
they stopped and they're like, wow. those jerseys are sweet. And I'm like, it is I've talked about championship look. I stole it from Coach Savage at UCLA a long time ago at the convention. Championship look, right? You want to have championship look in everything that you do. And my goodness, did they hit on these uniforms and these colors. And I think it's going to be a brand that's it's going to build a lot of momentum over the next few years here. And really looking forward to seeing this out and about. We've sold a ton of these jerseys. And the last thing I'll say, I went to the All-Star game. It was in Clemson, which is not far from Erskine. And, I made sure that that was an opportunity for me, to just pick up, go, not be in the dugouts. Those guys earn the all-star opportunities. That was a responsibility that I felt to go be in the stands, be with the fans, shake hands, say, I will see you in 2026. It's an honor to meet you tonight, because I know I've got a group of 25 guys that are behind me, that we're going to ask them to do those things when it's their turn. And I wanted a chance to go out and serve the way that I'm asking them to serve every single day. And that was most important to me. And what an opportunity that was, to go do that at the All-Star game at Clemson.
You're the best, buddy. I mean, great stuff. Last little segment here before we end the second segment. We touched on social media, and I imagine, and really look it up, the Banana Ball social media reach has to be like unmatched, I guess. And so each team will have their own for each manager as well, but still under the Banana Ball umbrella. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Just
yep.
social media. Yeah.
Yep. So, ultimately, I think it is an opportunity when you really get back to who we are, for the fans to get to know us. And, Jesse has done a tremendous job at the top, really living that out. The way that he's so open and transparent, with the fans and those platforms, and then asking and telling, his players to be open and transparent on who you are. That's one of the best ways, I think, to engage with the main thing, which is our fans, to let them have opportunities to see us, to give our gifts and talents, over the years. And these are gained through experiences. I do believe that I've had some, we call them, my players have called them Coach Crocco isms. I'm sure there are, Coach Neiman isms that, in our platforms that we have now, i.e. even this podcast, you get a chance to give those back, and to do that and take those things that if you learned at an early age, right, may help somebody right on time. And I think each and every one of us have gifts and talents. I believe everybody, every person, every player is different. And this organization really gives everybody a chance to, in their spheres, and mine is to be an encourager. I've always been somebody that has encouraged others in my life, brought energy to their day, made them feel seen and felt. And there's other guys here that have different gifts and talents. And ultimately, I think the best leaders empower their coaches, their players, their people to be the best version of them. And then ultimately some growth areas where you may have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit for the greater good. Again, I haven't taken too many dance classes, but there's going to be a couple of those that I'll join those guys. And guess what? Because of the culture, because of the equity that is built on a daily basis to own our lanes, when we ask that of our players, they then become a part of that culture, and it's their joy to do it. Why? Not for them, not for self, but for others, for the fans. For the main thing being the main thing. And when that happens and you see that growth, it's extremely rewarding as a coach, and as a man, because at the end of the day, these guys will have to hang them up. That these, careers may be 10 years, 15 years in this, and maybe 2 or 3, but they're all going to be dads. They're all going to be husbands. They're all going to be friends, colleagues, and, those acts of service that you get on a daily basis in this environment. That's how you affect this world. You do it one at a time. And each and every one of these guys are getting a chance to come out of here and let that light shine from what they've learned here. And I think it's extremely transferable in everything else they'll do.
That's truly reward. That's why, I was in it for all my life and still ways. And you get it. And you get it. Not only do you get it, you're now with a brand that perpetuates it. It puts it on the pedestal in the top, and you are perfect for everything you do. We're visiting with Marc Crocco from the Loco Beach Coconuts under the Banana Ball system, the Banana Ball League, and young man that's building his own legacy. When the game is over, what will people remember about you? My book, What is Your Legacy? Challenges leaders, athletes, and everyday people to think about the scoreboard. It's about purpose, impact, and the mark you leave on others. If you're ready to define your legacy and live it with intention, this book will guide the way. Get your copy of What is Your Legacy today, shaping only you can tell. Also available at Coach Diamond and Amazon. And back with Marc Crocco, Local Beach Coconuts. So what's the future look like for we know 6 teams coming up, kind of plans on, I imagine there'll be some involvement in, I can see like an east-west thing, I can see 8 teams. I can see all that coming down the road, but sometimes you got to walk before you run. But what can you share? What does it look like in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and one that, I will tell you, as fast as this has grown in a short amount of time, take your biggest vision of it, and it's more than a possibility. And I
Yeah,
think when you have a visionary such as Jesse Cole at the top, he really understands that, the way you grow is to do something different and to continue to seek those opportunities to do something different. I can say that, this world tour in particular, that one of the aims is that we've tried to be at least within 4 hours of everyone in this nation for them to see Banana Ball firsthand. And our crew does a wonderful job of covering these games. We had a contract with True TV and HBO. So it's been getting out more on mainstream television, ESPN. So that's had a lot more vision. But outside of that, when you get a chance to have feet on the ground, and obviously, 2 more teams now gives more opportunities for people to see this live. I think as that continues to happen, not only will, the demand for, getting, people in the seats continue to get higher, but I do think that the world is going to want to see Banana Ball. And I could see, international opportunities for us to, to go and continue to show people Banana Ball live. But ultimately, again, one fan at a time first. But when they see a product and they feel something different, and they see the effort that everybody puts in to serve the fans on the field, off the field, the support staff, ticketing people, all of it, it's something different that, some of my best memories actually were, at the Reading Phillies Stadium. Some of my best memories were the Bowie Bay Sox Stadium, when I lived in Maryland for a couple of years. There's something about that environment when you feel those, guards down with the players and the interaction that you get and the chances at times to even get on the field and interact with the player. There's something very magical that happens. And as these guys continue to grow, I tell, our visitor guys this summer, and obviously there's some big guys on the Bananas, Rack and, Olson and KJ and all those guys, and they're tremendous players. But, these young kids are looking at those players and our guys, like they're Ken Griffey Jr., or Cal Ripken Jr., who was my favorite player growing up. And, those platforms that they're getting with the next generation, they really do have a chance to live out something, I think, that can be generational. And again, I've called it's a Pat Riley term. I've called it disease of me. Disease of me at times has ran rampant now in NCAA collegiate athletics and pro athletics at times. This pushes against the grain of disease of me. And I think it gives guys a chance to really let something bigger than them speak for itself. And then I think the kids, the families, the players that, that show up every single day, they see the worth and the value. And after they get that experience hands-on first time, they're hooked. They love it. And the pace of play, obviously, and the entertainment at times that goes in between those innings, it's a la some of the best things that have happened in minor league parks. And you just can't walk away but smile sometimes because, it hit on every level. I had a dad tell me one time, he's like, "This is my first game." And I laughed, I cried. The foster families, being presented in the fourth, it hits every level of what I think our country is built on, and that's family, and that's why it's been America's pastime. Fathers and sons playing catch. The foundation of when you fell in love with this game is really center in everything that we do.
I love the fact that there's such access to players and coaches and folks in the organization. I think that is so critical because sometimes fans, professional baseball, get boxed out of that. Especially at the big league level. Somewhat in the minor league level as well. You get some guys that'll be very friendly and outgoing, but it's not part of their why they're there. With your guys, that's why they're there. And I can see the pride, you're exuding pride in this organization. Your enthusiasm is contagious. It's unbelievable. Is there one specific area like, hey, I'm most proud of this so far, even though you haven't coached a game in it, you haven't made a mistake yet between the lines, but is there one area where, I feel pretty good about this?
Yeah, multiple, but if I had to pick two right now, the first one I'll start with on the field. We had a group of guys that were so sold out this summer for the fans. We had a weather issue, and ultimately, they knew they only had 6-game window, 3 games against Bananas, 3 against Party Animals. And unfortunately, weather washed us like 2 nights in a row for one of those games. And we had a bunch of kids, 700 kids in this environment here for Banana Ball U and the camp tournament environment. And we had a camp at 8:30 the next morning. And our players had just lost quote unquote an opportunity to play one of their 6 games that was allotted. They showed up full uniform, ready to go, serve those kids as if it was another gift for them to have an opportunity to do it. And for me, that was so rewarding as a coach to watch those guys. Because again, I've said this before, the ultimate test of any player is when they don't quote unquote get what they want, whether it's a result in a game or losing a game or, in some other environments feeling like they're owed something. The game owes us nothing. We have everything to give. And to watch that come full circle was tremendous for me, very rewarding as a coach. And then my second one, I was in Louisville, Kentucky, and Emily Cole walked a young lady to her car about almost a mile away to make sure she got there safely and was able to load something into her vehicle. And I walked with her, and my assistant coach walked with her, and one of the lead ticket ladies walked with her. That was my first Banana Ball game at the end of that night. And I said, these people are, I called my wife the next day. I said, they are for real. They live it, and I had a sense, prior to that maybe I was getting called into this, but that was another one of those moments for me that to see, someone that has all these things going on truly live out, fans first. And after that, I was like, done, done, out give, out serve, period, and you're in an environment that's promoting that every day. That's the call. And those are opportunities for me to out love, out give, out serve with other people that get that. That's a wrap. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm hooked. I mean, I heard that story. I mean, that's what you do. You put others before you, and we used to tell my players, "You've done that." It's a familiar quote, but you do nothing in this world until you've done something for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
There's a second part of that that can't repay you, and whether they can or they can't, you've got to do something for somebody else. And to me, that sums up Banana Ball. You're doing something for so many people and no expectations in return other than, enjoy the product and enjoy the game. Mark, we all have mentors in our life, people that influence. Anybody stick out in your mind? Any one or two folks that you've had and still have, or, anybody else, on the horizon?
Yeah, well, I'm talking to one of them. Obviously, watching you over time at a place like the sales and the, in a world I think that bounces around and tries to get to the next place, you have kept the main thing. So I want to make sure I honor you for those years of service to that community. And you've kept the main thing with the young kids. I am proof of that, and one, extension of that. So watching your steadfastness, I think, has been powerful. My dad, ultimately, I credit a lot of my leadership development training through him. He sowed seeds in my life over the years through baseball, never forced it on me, but gave me every opportunity to fall in love with the game. And ultimately, all of these opportunities and doors that have opened have, kind of stemmed off of my love for the game. And I think we can't lose that. The day it becomes a job, or the day it becomes something that you have to do, it becomes very challenging to continue to show up in an effective way. And he allowed me to fall more in love with the game every day, and really tie in, I call it life in 9 innings, right? Tie in those life principles into what this game brings every day. And I can't say enough about who he's been. But the one coach that I want, and again, Elton Pollock, tremendous. Mike Keselowski, tremendous. Toby Bicknell, huge for me. But the servant leaders, the guys that are real, that are authentic. I've had, those names that I just met. I could keep going, but there are guys in this game that have not changed, and they will not change, because they get it. They're building fathers, they're building husbands, they're building men, and those are the guys that have lasting impact. And I'm honored to be a part of those coaching trees, and that's the longevity, right? There's a lot of coaches that may hit, and they're hot for a little bit, and next thing you know, character shows up, right? But the guys that have kept the main thing, their banners are found in the hearts of the men that walk out of their program. Their rings are found at the wedding vows when I, go, and I'm starting to get those now after 9 years of being a head coach. Seeing those moments, that's what we're doing. And I think ultimately those men that have paved the way for me collectively, have shown me by living out what it truly means to be a leader.
One thing I've always remembered from Joe Consoli with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he would say, look, after all the evaluation is done, find out what kind of a person he is. And Joe was a scout for the Pirates, one of the best ever. Never forgot that. Yeah. I mean, it's helped me in my life and my recruiting. Sometimes you get fooled once in a while, but not really. And even picking guests for this podcast, I always, what kind of a person is he? I don't need to, he might be the richest person in the world or have all kinds of great stories, and that's great, but I want somebody genuine. You hit that, mentioned that before. What kind of a person are you? After all the evaluation is done, do you fit what we do? Do you fit the culture? Are you going to be a husband, a father, a man, and do things for others? And the other thing I always remembered, I think it's Harry S. Truman, isn't it amazing what we can accomplish if nobody cares who gets the credit? I always thought, wow, that's exactly right. Excuse me. That's exactly the way, people should be. We don't care if we get the credit. We don't care how rough the sea is. Just bring the darn ship in, right? Yeah. I mean, those are great, great things. So if somebody wanted to get involved with Banana Ball as a player or administrator, staff, what can they do? What's the best thing they can do?
Yeah, so there are venues online where people can sign up to be a part of the team, or internships, or put in their resumes, etc. So those are found. Trusty Google search engine. How to get involved, and how to find ways into this organization. And I think as we continue to grow, with the main thing being the main thing, if you ask yourself, again, I haven't punched a clock one day in my life. I've been very fortunate to be around this game that we love so much. With hours, those hours of service, the heart, behind it, those are the people that get involved in this and have a chance to be a part of this momentum moving forward. And from a baseball standpoint, we're going to continue to open eyes. And, the talent level that is in this draft here, and the talent level that's already here inside of these walls, is tremendous. And I believe that is only going to grow as we grow as an organization, and the caliber of people coinciding with the talented people that are here. I am excited to see what that looks like moving forward.
Coach Crocco, you've been outstanding. So, this is the Straight Lines podcast. having spoke to you a little bit, kind of researched a little bit, what does straight lines mean to you? What it's important to me, obviously, because it's my brand at this point, and people really like it, whether it's sports, business, leadership, life. People like the concept. What does that mean to you, Coach?
Well, I've asked around a little bit since I saw that question. That was one that stood out. And my take on that, honestly, if you really go back to my journey, and you go back to, I think, a lot of guys that have been in baseball for a long time, you know what straight lines is to me? It's showing back up. How you show back up every day with the same heart, right? With the same intent, with the same goals, no matter the result, keep showing up. And I think that's something that people in our world and in our country right now can really, receive, to know, like, wherever you are in life, whether it's on a mountaintop or a valley, if you just keep showing up and you do it for somebody else and you see others, it goes back to one thing. And for me, I'll say it. And one of my best Coach Crocco-isms, the boys have always said, the game knows your heart, and it's gonna in due time, you will be rewarded. But it's not about results. It's about your heart to get an opportunity to be a part of something bigger than you. So showing back up is my straight lines moment.
That's awesome. The game does know.
Mhm.
That's for sure. The game is great, and sometimes it's unforgiving. There's a lot of people that love baseball, and baseball doesn't really like them so much because it's a little phony, right? You've been outstanding. Thanks for joining me on Straight Lines, where leadership beat the game of baseball. Remember, leadership is about drawing straight lines, even when life throws us curveballs. If you enjoyed today's show, share it with a teammate, subscribe, and connect with me on social media for more insights. And if you want to dive deeper, check out my books, Team Killers and What is Your Legacy? Until next time, lead with clarity, play with purpose, and keep your line straight. Marc Crocco, I can't thank you enough for your time today. Wish you all the best. I look forward to seeing a Loco Beach Coconut game somehow, some way. I think that would be cool, and I'm going to be following you. Marc, thanks for being with me today.
Thanks so much for having me today, Coach. It's been my honor. And as always, my final words: fans first.
Fans first. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.